Is it bad to have my Virtualenv directory inside my Git repository? I'm thinking about putting the Virtualenv for a Django web app I am making inside my Git repository for the app. It seems like an easy way to keep deploys simple and easy. Is there any reason why I shouldn't do this?
I use pip freeze to get the packages I need into a requirements.txt file and add that to my repository. I tried to think of a way of why you would want to store the entire Virtualenv, but I could not.
Storing the Virtualenv directory inside Git will, as you noted, allow you to deploy the whole app by just doing a git clone, plus installing and configuring apache/mod_wasg. One potentially significant issue with this approach is that on Linux the full path gets hard-coded in the ven's activate, django admin.py, easy_install, and pip scripts. This means your Virtualenv won't entirely work if you want to use a different path, perhaps to run multiple virtual hosts on the same server. I think the website may actually work with the paths wrong in those files, but you would have problems the next time you try to run pip. The solution, already given, is to store enough information in Git so that during the deploy you can create the Virtualenv and do the necessary pip installs. Typically people run pip freezed to get the list, then store it in a file named requirements.txt. It can be loaded with pip install a requirements.txt. Ryan Brady already showed how you can string the deploy statements in a single line. Personally, I just put these in a shell script that I run after doing a git clone or git pull. Storing the Virtualenv directory also makes it a bit trickier to handle pip upgrades, as you'll have to manually add/remove and commit the files resulting from the upgrade. With a requirements.txt file, you just change the appropriate lines in requirements.txt and rerun pip install a requirements.txt. As already noted, this also reduces commit spam.
I used to do the same until I started using libraries that are compiled differently depending on the environment, such as PyCrypto. My PyCrypto Mac wouldn't work on Cygwin, wouldn't work on Ubuntu. It becomes an utter nightmare to manage the repository. Either way, I found it easier to manage the pip freeze and a requirements file than having it all in Git. It's cleaner too, since you get to avoid the commit spam for thousands of files as those libraries get updated.
I think one of the main problems which occur is that the Virtualenv might not be usable by other people. Reason is that it always uses absolute paths. So if your Virtualenv was, for example, in breaktime equals ones, greater than, it will assume the same for all other people using this repository. It must be exactly the same absolute path. You can't presume people using the same directory structure as you. Better practice is that everybody is setting up their own environment, be it with or without Virtualenv, and installing libraries there. That also makes your code more usable over different platforms, Linux/Windows/Mac, also because Virtualenv is installed different in each of them.
It's not a good idea to include any environment-dependent component or setting in your repos, as one of the key aspects of using a repo is perhaps sharing it with other developers. Here is how I would set up my development environment on a Windows PC, say, Win 10. Open PyCharm and on the first page, choose to check out the project from your source control system. In my case, I am using GitHub. In PyCharm, navigate to Settings and choose Project Interpreter and choose the option to add a new virtual environment. You can call it venv. Choose the base Python interpreter, which is located at c:\users/user/updater/local/programs/python/python 36. Make sure you choose the appropriate version of Python based on what you have installed. Note that PyCharm will create the new virtual environment and copy Python binaries and required libraries under your venv folder inside your project folder. Let PyCharm complete its scanning as it needs to rebuild/refresh your project skeleton. Exclude venv folder from your Git interactions at venv \2. Git ignore file in your project folder. Bonus, if you want people to easily, well, almost easily, install all the libraries your software needs, you can use. And put the instruction on your Git so people can use the following command to download all required libraries at once.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.